Alright, guys, you should be able to hear me now, I hope. So please let me know if you do. We should be working now, guys. Could you guys hear me? Please tell me you guys could hear me. Slight oversight on my part. I told you guys I was nervous about doing this stream. That's why it's taken me so long. And plus, given for those of you who are aware of the events that transpired, I believe Friday night, I just felt like this topic couldn't go unaddressed any longer, and it's time to finally go through with it. Oh, I forgot to open up YouTube. Alright, cool. But yeah, let me know if the sound's working, guys. For those of you guys who are watching, it's showing that it's picking up on my end, at least through OBS. So before we get started, I need to know that there's sound, so I know this could happen. Am I even watching the right stream? Yeah, I am. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Jenny. My sister to the rescue. Oh, hi, Anya. Okay, so I like to preface this entire discussion with the fact that it's not a comfortable discussion, especially for me personally, and I'm sure to many of you who have reached out to me. For those of you watching on YouTube, yeah, there's a few of you. Well, I only see one of you at the moment. Who aren't familiar with the situation, I'll discuss it briefly. I don't want to make this whole thing about me, but this is, like I said in the disclaimer, I am not a certified psychiatrist or psychologist, but I have been diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder well over a decade ago, and it's something I've struggled with my entire adult life. And there were some events that transpired, I believe last Friday. With this COVID-19 thing, you never really know. I just felt like it was finally time to do this. I promised I'd do it last October, but it really was nerve-wracking just trying to get myself to have this discussion openly. So anyway, let's get right down to it. I'm gonna basically be telling you a summary of my dealings with bipolar 2 disorder and what I've learned through psychology, psychiatry, everything from cognitive behavioral therapy, how it's helped me personally, and others I know who have gone through similar issues, who also have taken the route to, seek therapy through cognitive behavioral therapy, which is very effective. But, bipolar 2 or bipolar 1 even, it's a different animal than, your basic depression, which we all go through at some point in our lives. So this is more leaned towards men, in all honesty, based off of statistics and the stigma behind the discussion. I know a lot of men, particularly all around the world, a lot of guys from Europe, Asia, throughout North America, reached out to me last October when I made my post about having the discussion and wanting to make the video. And a lot of them sent me their own personal stories and allowed me to share them with you. I tried going back and looking up, some of you guys, but given once again, the events that transpired this past week, I've been flooded with a bunch of DMs and PMs, or whatever people call them nowadays. And I haven't even been able to get back to all of you and thank so many of you for what you did. last week. So, my dealings with bipolar 2. It's a lot of people, and there's one story that I did get, by the way, that I will share with you. I'm not going to tell you who it is, and he's felt very similar to how I've felt throughout my life. But my dealings have been very manic depressive. I have attempted suicide in the past, one of which was very close to being successful. If it wasn't for my mother, I likely would have died back in October of 2016. Um, I was rushed to the ER and I spent a good 5 days in the ICU, intubated. I don't want to show you the picture. The picture is out there, but I don't even like looking at it. Though it's a stark reminder of what a stupid decision that was to make. And a lot of you reminded me this past week what a stupid decision I could have almost made again. And I thank you for that, sincerely. But, it's the stigmatism behind male mental health. Just in the past several months, we're only in May. I've seen 3 friends of mine on social media whose mutual friends have actually committed suicide. All 3 of them males. The actual statistics, which I can only find from 2017, and I'll read some statistics off for you here in a bit, they're pretty staggering. One that I know right off the top of my head, 3.54% of men are more likely to commit suicide than women, which is a pretty scary thought. And like I said, I'll pull those statistics up in a little bit. But sorry, guys, I am very nervous having this discussion. Hopefully, once I get into it, I'll calm down. I had to take a Xanax before even doing this, prescribed Xanax. I am prescribed Xanax. I'm actually at the point where I see my psychiatrist. I can't actually see him right now because of the lockdown, but I see him or talk to him weekly still over the phone. We do, therapy sessions over the phone every single week for a good 45 minutes. But the amount of messages that I received, that really impacted me in ways I can't really describe to you. How many men out there are suffering and they don't open up to anybody. They're afraid to open up to people. Personally, I gave up on, being shut down or shut in more so. Keeping my emotions kind of kept in like most men do because, I don't know, we're supposed to be alpha males. We're supposed to be the big strong guys that take care of everything, and we're not supposed to show emotions. And you guys all know that to be true. I should have written down some kind of a format. I was planning on it, but just going through some of these statistics, I just never found the time. But yeah, like I said, sorry guys, I keep getting distracted by some of these statistics. I want to talk about them really bad. Yeah, back in 2016, I did have a serious suicide attempt, like I mentioned earlier. And from there on, I've attempted a couple times. And the thing is that we're nowhere near successful. I called it quits, even thinking about it. But when you get into some of these states, what people don't understand, like these extremely depressive, dark states, is it's not like a light switch. You can't turn them on and off. Any thought or emotion that's bottled up could trigger it. And that's pretty much generally always the case. And a lot of times even just depression, basic depression, could lead to addiction, which is another big thing. We have a serious problem with addiction, whether it's alcoholism, whether it's, opioid addiction or Xanax addiction. Personally, I don't even handle my own Xanax. It's not that I don't trust myself, but just in case, you never know. I have someone else do that for me. They give me my allotted dosage per my psychiatrist. And that's my way of trying to work through this, and cognitive behavioral therapy. So if any of you have ever felt these ways, whether it's just, a small point in your life where you feel that depressed, where you can't really get yourself motivated, get yourself out of bed. Believe me, though, you can get to those points. I've been there. I've spent weeks in bed just thinking, and those are manic states where I just keep overthinking, everything in my life. Oh crap! I'm sorry. I pulled down the YouTube chats. I remember why live streaming is such a pain in the ass. And I'm sorry, there will be swearing in this because the one message from a friend that I could find from last October did have some swear words, and I'm going to try to read it as best I can. I'm kind of short in breath. I'm thirsty. Yeah, I hope you guys don't mind me swearing. But once again, it's a sensitive topic. Who really cares? I think the topic's worse than swearing. But yeah, as far as what I've dealt with over the last 10 years, the initial psychiatrist I saw believes that I've been suffering from this bipolar 2 disorder for the majority of my life, if not the entirety of my life. Though it doesn't run my family, for some reason they seem to think that that's the case. And looking back on my childhood over the years, like I said, this was well over a decade ago, I could see instances of behavior that I kind of led in my adulthood that kind of stemmed from my childhood, but not so much from other people, just from how I felt, growing up. A lot of you guys know me as a tech nerd. That wasn't really popular growing up. And that's another big thing. Many of you are actually that have opened up to me last year when I made that post about doing this exact live stream that happened in, many months later, are from the tech community. And you guys have been very open with me, and those of you who know who you are, who helped me last week, it was the majority of you are from the tech community, and not just locally. None of them, very few were locally, actually. They were from all over the world. One particular person I really would like to thank, well, two people. Nancy Butenberg, sorry if I'm not butchering your name, if I am butchering your name, and of course, Alex Guila. Thank you to both of you. I know you guys reached out tremendously, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you. But, yeah, I wasn't really sure how to format this first discussion aside from just discussing my personal issues with this. Oh, thanks, dude. Dimitri. Sorry, guys. The chats are so laggy from your end to my end. So I'm speaking, and I see your chats actually pop up a minute later. Matter of fact, I might as well. No one's really commenting on YouTube, so I'm just going to quickly switch over to Facebook. And I could probably see your comments real time if I just play it from my phone over 4G. Oh, look at that. That's so much better. So I could actually read your guys' stuff in real time, even streaming through Facebook. That works. It helps to have a little bit of technology. But yeah, let's quickly go over some of the statistics. And of course, I know it's a mental illness discussion, which once again, I said I'm not a clinical psychiatrist or a psychologist. This is only from personal experience. But I do have a psychiatrist that is willing to do a live stream. If any of you guys would like to see that happen, I can make it happen. It'll just take some work on my end because he doesn't know a dick about computers. So I'd have to set it all up for him in order to make it happen and get the NDI plug-in and, all that good stuff. But, crap, I keep losing my train of thought. Yeah, the statistics. Guys, if I ever end up doing another one of these, just know that I'll probably be more relaxed. Like I said, it's a very sensitive topic to me. But I want to read off some statistics. And these are back from 2017. I couldn't find anything from 2018 or 2019, so These are the only numbers I have to go off of. Um, let's see. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. in 2017. 47,173 Americans, and this is just the U.S., and people have been reaching out to me all over the world, died by suicide. In 2017, an estimated 1.4 million suicide attempts. I mean, that number is staggering. And these are mainly people who just don't reach out for treatment. I mean, treatment really has helped. I wouldn't have made it this long without, seeking a psychiatrist and a psychologist to help me through trying times, because, quite frankly, they've dealt with just about every scenario you could possibly imagine. But here are some more staggering statistics. Suicide, well, I already said it's the 10th leading death, claimed the lives of over 47,000 people. Okay. Suicide was the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 and 34. The second leading death of individuals between 10 and 34. I mean, that is staggering. That is a serious mental health issue, crisis. And it was the fourth leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 55 and 54. So even in the older bracket, I'm 34, so I still fall in the younger bracket. Still the fourth leading death, or cause of death. There's one other statistic that I think I might have mentioned earlier, or maybe I just did that in my head. It's about the male. What was the percentage? Okay, here we go. In 2017, men died by suicide at a rate of 3.54 times more often than women. And that's a staggering number. And once again, that's really due to the stigma of men not opening up. I mean, I'm not saying you have to see a psychiatrist. I'm not saying you have to see a psychologist or a therapist, but even opening up to, your best friends, closest friends, family members, it always helps. I know a particular individual, rather young individual, he's a teenager, who is going through some pretty rough times, has some very dark thoughts. And, he finally was able to reach out to me, and, we still talk often about these types of things when he gets into these episodes. But you got to realize a lot of these people don't have anybody to talk to that they can relate to. And for those of you who have been through, situations like this, I know a lot of you guys want to, you always offer to help, me when I'm going through tough times. But just know, for those of you who are going through situations like this, there are many other people that are going through it just like you. So there are people out there to talk to. There's hotlines, of course, psychiatrists, psychologists, and all the other leading professionals. I gotta switch over to YouTube just in case. All right, we'll get back to this now. Statistics. On average, there are 129 suicides per day, and that was back in 2017. White males accounted for 69.67%. 70% of suicide deaths were by white males out of the 14 plus thousand, or was it 40? 47,000, I'm sorry, 47,173. 70% of them were white males. So, yeah, it's a very staggering number. But like I said, guys, I am not a clinical psychiatrist or psychologist, so I'm not telling you what sort of treatment. I'm not diagnosing anybody. But, I mean, if you guys want to... Michael Winchester getting old. What, you? You're getting old? Or am I getting old? 34 is not old. Not according to this age bracket, which isn't a really nice age bracket. But quickly, because I really... this was kind of a on-the-fly thing. just because it was Mother's Day weekend, and I had a lot of other things on my mind. But I really wanted just to kick this off, get the ball rolling. If you guys do want to see the, you know, me more comfortable, which I always am when I'm actually talking with somebody. I'm way better, always have been, talking with people face to face as opposed to, you know, talking to a camera. Inanimate objects always it always feels weird. But yeah, let me know if you guys would like to see that. I do have a psychiatrist friend who's willing to join me via live stream and have a discussion, and you guys could, ask him questions. Him and I could talk about the general discussions. We obviously aren't going to have a psychiatry session live on video, but let me know if that's something you guys would ever want to see. But very quickly, I don't want to make this too long, though I am relaxing a little bit, which is nice. I gotta find I would like to read something sent to you by a friend of mine. And keep in mind, I received dozens upon dozens of messages very similar to this one. I'm not going to mention his name, but bear with me, because once again, I did say I am still a little nervous, and I've never been good at actually reading out loud. I read very quickly to myself. I just can't actually read out loud. What do I do with my Gatorade? I lost my Gatorade. Am I losing my mind? Oh, never mind. Found it. All right, here we go. Now, keep in mind this was sent to me last year, but he did give me permission to read it. All right. He says, I keep it all locked in a box, for I live in a time still where most things are still not believed or accepted, and amongst people that believe depression is just a state of mind that you choose, or be called lazy because you haven't left your room all week. I've never found personally that talking helps me. Or maybe I just never found someone that actually listened and actually cared. Many people ask, how are you? I've never found any that actually wanted to know when you respond with the details on how shit's going, and the conversations end quickly with a chin up. I'm sure it will get better. Believe it or not, that's actually the pretty much general description of the general response. Unfortunately, financial circumstances are forcing me from my safe space or place, with that bringing new shit I never knew was a problem, which lasted a few months. That has been a real battle. I've had to try and hide. I keep losing my spot. Sorry guys, it's a 4K screen, and my vision, even with glasses, sucks. I just totally lost my place. Well, I've had to try and hide. Few months. Oh no, okay, I've tried to hide. Supposed to be the rock, the man. I can't show weakness. I can't be a grown-ass man scared to go in a shop because too many people are in it. It's fucked up shit, and it isn't who I remember being. A lot has changed since turning 40 recently. Hard to explain, but it's like a massive dark gray cloud of time's running out. Realization that there's not enough time to realize some childhood dreams, and realization of things I left too late. And then he goes on to say his mother was bipolar, and growing up was interesting, to put it mildly. And I see a lot of her in me, which scares me. The only thing that has ever helped me is helping others, and I'm drawn to that which is broken. And it's crazy. I mean, yeah, obviously the financial situation, which especially today, a lot of people are going through. So a lot of people are, I'm sure, suffering from depression, even if it's temporary, because finances could cause depression, of course. But he basically described how I've felt my entire life, until recently, as far as opening up. But that's the majority of the messages I received are exactly like that, which is a really scary thought. Need some Kentucky's Finest and a fit to be comfortable. No, I'm good. It's just a topic, Michael. It's not a very comfortable topic for me. Hopefully, if I ever do more of these with my psychiatrist friend, it will be more comfortable. It's more so the topic and talking to an inanimate object. I'm actually going to pull another window up. But yeah, that the amount of messages I've received are so similar, you wouldn't believe, to this very message. It's the stigmatism behind it. Like I said, based on the statistic I gave you earlier, which I'd like to name the source, of course. It comes from American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And once again, this is from 2017, so I don't know the race for 2018, 19, or this year, especially given this year. You all know, it's 2020. If you haven't heard about 2020, I don't know where you've been. All right, guys, but yeah, I think that I'm going to call it for the live stream. But if you guys would like for me to, have these discussions with my psychiatrist friend and just talk about general psychiatry, I'd like to ask him some questions that I generally don't have time to in our personal sessions. And of course, you guys would be more than welcome to ask him any questions, or if you guys want to, get in touch, or just ask him, personal questions, how you would deal with this, or if you think someone else is battling with depression and you're not sure, I'm sure he'd be more than welcome to answer any of your questions. I already talked to him about it. He's willing to do it. And if you guys want to see it, just let me know. But yeah, this is nerve-wracking. So I'm going to call it quits. I hope the video went well for all of you guys. And that's that. All right, guys. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening or morning, day, wherever you may be. Take care.